Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show. I'm Cyrus, and I'm looking forward to drinking some wine with you this evening.
And I'm Brittany, and it's officially summertime.
Yeah.
So exciting. I love the sunshine.
I got the summer cut.
Wow. It's looking good.
Thank you.
Okay.
So today we will be reviewing two wines from Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, and I brought a white.
And I brought a red.
Intro. So, Brittany, what do you have for us this week?
So, yes, for our bottle today, for our red, it's a 2019 Spot Burgunder. It's from the winery of Karl Erhard from Rodesheim in Germany. And it comes in at 12.5% alcohol, which is pretty low. Also, interesting fact, Spot Burgunder is also known as Pinot Noir. It's the same thing.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
Well, do you want to describe the bottle?
Sure. So it looks like it has a nice German man with a goblet. Looks like he had a couple, which is nice. There's a little knife there. Interesting. But there's all sorts of kind of greenery. It's almost like there's a tree or there's vines around him, I guess. Grapevines. Yes, those are grapes. There's grapes on it. So it's pretty fun. I find that these labels were very overwhelming to read in the first place. So in our wine guide, there's actually a way to read these types of labels since they're very different from how we do our labels. So it's really interesting to see the art fixture on this while also being overwhelmed by the words on it.
Yeah, tough. My knowledge of German isn't the best, and so figuring out which word is the winemaker, the winery, the region, the region-specific terms. Tough, but it was nice. We had a little guide to help us. So, all right. Well, why don't you pour some glasses?
Sure. It's a screw off top this time.
I had said bottles the first time, and we had to re-record that. This is stressing me out too. Thank you. Well, you can kind of see right through it, and I guess that tracks with what I know for Pinot, but it is a deep kind of purple red color. I use the word garnet way too much to describe the reds that we get, but that is what this is, a garnet.
And it still has just the slightest amount of brown tinge on it, on the edges.
Right at the edge, yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's smell it.
Great. Well, it has a very strong cherry smell. Like it almost gives me the sense of a cherry flavored cough medicine.
Yeah.
Almost. And it also gives me a sense of like a smoke box.
Yeah, some woodiness. It's so Pinot. Like if I'd been told this was Spots Burgunder, I would but had no idea what that was. And blind taste, or blind smell, I think that I would be able to identify this one. It's super classic. It smells like every Pinot you've tried, you at home.
And it's interesting. I think that it smells more alcoholic than it is.
Yeah, I can definitely smell the alcohol. There's some like red berries and kind of a little woodiness. I guess that's the cedar that you were talking about.
But I anticipate that it will be pretty well balanced for the most part, and we won't really taste alcohol at all, especially with it being 12.5% alcohol in this one.
Alrighty, well, let's taste it.
Awesome. This is very good. I like it a lot.
It's really acidic.
Yes. More acidic than I anticipated. There's also some pepper notes in there that I think, or maybe some cinnamon.
No, I agree. Pepper, but like green pepper almost, not like a spicy.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of red wines that make me salivate like this one. I think this one is making me salivate a lot because of the acidity that's in it.
For sure. It's like really, really tart raspberry, tart cherry. Yeah, it's got cranberry. It's all the red berries, strawberry.
But it has this smoky aspect. So it's not extremely fruity. I think that there's light fruit notes in it, and then there's just something else, whether that's smokiness or some sort of savoriness that's balancing it out a little bit more. Yeah, I'm getting a ton of just woodiness and grittiness from it. It's not necessarily gravel. It's more wood.
Yeah, and there are tannins there, but they're like pretty punchy right away, but then they fade very quickly. This is not a long wine. Mm-hmm. And like you predicted, Brittany, not very much alcohol coming through. It's pretty smooth drinking.
And it's just light on the mouth. I don't think it's not super thick. It's, I think, maybe medium bodied for me. It's not the lightest red that I've had.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would say medium light. I think it is on the lighter side, but you're right. It's not the lightest red I've had.
It's not the thick whole mouth that I tend to go for. But it's still really, really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I love this. I'm not usually the biggest fan of Pinot Noir, so I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. This is very good, and I would definitely get this again.
Yeah, I would have this with our pasta or with our steak. It seems like a great wine for a nice, subtly savory, earthy taste.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and something to balance out the stark acidity.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brittany, let's move on to the section where I ask you to tell us about why Germany is a great place to grow wine.
Yes. So Germany is one of the oldest regions in Europe that's been growing grapes. It's been doing it for about 2 millennia.
That's crazy.
And something else that's interesting is that, you know, how France makes a lot of blended wines. Germany strays away from that. It does not make blends. It makes more of its single variety. So also Germany is a cooler climate region, which leads to those lighter reds like this one, like this Pinot Noir type. And then it brings in those nice aromatic whites. So yeah, it's a great region for those types of wines. Germany is also a leader in organic and biodynamic wines. So it's a leader in just taking charge of making very good quality, but also very, very eco-friendly wines.
So there was another fun fact that we learned during our little research here about German wine. Do you want to tell our friends?
I have to get my little wave out here. So apparently there is a thing called the German Wine Institute, which elects every fall a wine queen.
And what do they do?
So they go around for about like 250 days of the year just talking about wine. So they elect this person who knows a lot about German wine is just going to talk the talk around everywhere. So they essentially just travel and talk about wine.
And they have an entourage called the Wine Princesses.
The Wine Princesses. Where do I sign up?
That does sound like a cool job.
But I'm still an amateur, but I don't think they'd elect me, but I can dream.
Yeah. Well, impressions on this wine?
I think for me, it's going to go into my top 3 reds for this season so far. It's really good for a light red. And like you said, we don't drink a lot of Pinot Noirs. We don't choose it. But it's actually a really good type of Pinot Noir here from Germany. So I really like it. I think it's delicious and it's sort of bold in a way, but not extremely bold.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see what this wine would be like with a few years more of age. But I agree, it's definitely going, top 3 for reds. And I guess we've had so many now, I'll have to check the list and see exactly where it goes. But yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with our second bottle.
Woo.
All good. Get your hand off there. Why don't you pour some bottles? Put your hand off that. What are we doing? Right. Do you want to look at it? I saw your concerned face.
I'm just wondering.
You can see through this. Down pretty fast if you know. Woo. Too vigorous. Well,
No, bring it back.
Baba Booey. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back.
So we have a white brought by Cyrus. Cyrus, do you want to talk about the white that you brought?
Sure. So this is a 2017 Riesling of cabinet quality by Günther Steinmetz. It's from the Mosel in Germany, and it is listed as dry or just off dry. So should be kind of right up our alley, I hope.
Yeah, I think so. And when you think Riesling, you think something sweet.
Right, me too.
So this is going to be fun to delve into. And Riesling, I think, is a very classical type of wine.
Yeah, it's the wine from Germany.
Yeah.
It's the top billing. So German Riesling from the Mosel especially is pretty famous for its quality, and I'm hoping that this is pretty good. We had a Riesling in season 1 that was also cabinet level, and we really enjoyed that. So I'm hoping that this will be on the same level there.
It's going to be good.
Well, I will describe the bottle for folks.
Yes,
it's
please.
got a plain white label with a little golden embossed image of the estate, and it's got a little gold lettering and a little black outline. So it's pretty basic, but it drew my eye for just its classical look. It looks like an old wine chateau.
Yes, and it's tall and skinny.
Yeah,
Tall and
classic
skinny
Riesling.
bottle. Yes.
So, yep, definitely checked all the boxes. It's only 10.5% alcohol by volume. So, cabinet
Super
also
low.
typically means the least amount of alcohol.
Yes.
So,
So again, not for the alcohol, for the taste.
yeah. Well, why don't we open this up?
Great. Tis aromatic.
You got a sneak peek there?
Yeah, not on purpose, but it just. I don't need to sniff in the glass.
Yeah, that is pungent. It's a golden color. It's not quite honey, but it's pretty golden yellow.
It's very pretty, and it has little bubbles in it.
Little bubbles, yeah. Well, let's just smell this. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Well, first thing is there's that petroleum that classic Riesling has. This definitely has that in spades.
And like crab apple, it's definitely appley, bright,
Floral too.
floral.
I was gonna say like lilacs or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you just walked out on a nice spring day where everything's bloomed.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. It's green a little bit. The fruit is there, but it's not the main thing. It's the floral and that kind of acrid, petroleum.
It's so strong. Like my nose is just almost burning from how much smell is coming up.
That's that
It's good.
aromatic. Well, why don't we try this?
Well, first taste that hits my tongue is just candy. It's sweeter than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's candied, sweet, but light.
Agree. The floral stuff still all comes through.
Super flowers. It's like I'm stuffing my mouth with sweet flowers.
Yeah. Candied pear, I think, is like the big one there.
That's a good way to put it.
Or even like candied lemon, because it's pretty...
It is lemony. That's true. It has this sort of sour component to it. Not really sour, like puckering. Especially towards the end of the taste. It's lemony. It's warm.
Yeah. I think that it also has a little bit of a minerally aftertaste. It's not too minerally up front, but it certainly ends a little bit, I would say it's like slate or chalk kind of texture, which is good. It adds an interesting kind of finish to it, especially in contrast to that sweet up front.
Well, Cyrus, are you ready to tell us a little bit more about Germany?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Germany is the top Riesling producer, and it's kind of the most famous wine from there. But Riesling comes in all types, from dry to sweet. And this, I guess, is just off dry. And you can get Rieslings in sparkling, you can get Rieslings in still. And in fact, you can pretty much get any German grape in a sparkling variety. They do a lot of sparkling wines over there. And sparkling wine in Germany will be labeled as Sekt, S-E-K-T, and which is funny because it sounds like sec, which is on a lot of French wines, which means dry. So it doesn't mean dry, it's sparkling. So it's a little bit of a gotcha there. But
Gotcha.
yeah, gotcha. It's sparkling, or at least it got me originally, because I'm used to coming from French wine. Germany is also the top producer of a few other wines, Pinot Blanc, which is also known as Weissburgunder, and Pinot Gris, which is Grauburgunder. It's like the number 1 and number 3 respectively for those varieties. So Germany has a lot of these aromatic whites, and I don't know. Every one I've had I've enjoyed. I love the kind of pungent full nose that these wines give you, and I can't recommend German white wine enough.
Yes. And I think that they just shine in the white wine variety for sure. They focus on it. That's the most grape variety that they do have is white grape varieties. But they do have some reds, and they do such amazing things with that. But they really shine with their whites. They love their whites. So I would highly recommend this as well. It's interesting. We went to our regular store that we get wine, Bow Street. Shout out. And it was honestly really hard to find a red.
Right. They had, I think, 2 German reds.
They had maybe 2. So I had an easy pick. Cyrus did not. So it was kind of fun, kind of hunting for it. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, you can tell that they really are passionate about their whites.
Yeah, and part of that too is probably a little bit of survivorship bias, where the ones that actually get imported to the U.S. happen to be more of the whites, because they're the ones that are a little more accessible and a little more the style that Americans like. Whereas these lighter reds aren't really the classical thing that I would be looking for when I'm looking for a red. So it's a little harder to market them over here. That's true. But either way, they're both wonderful from what we've experienced today. They're just great. So final thoughts on this white. I really love it. It's definitely in my top, probably 2. It's probably under the Chardonnay, because this is bright and it's different and it surprised me. And we love Riesling. It's classic. So of course I'm going to really love this one. And Germany's done a really great job with their Rieslings. So 9.7 out of 10. Yeah. Damn. It's pretty high. A little lower for me. I think that it's definitely up there with the whites that we've had this season, but it's a little, I wish that it was just a little bit more dry, like the one that we had a little while ago. I guess I just like that style of Riesling a little better. This one's a little off dry, and it's really, really well made, and I really enjoy it. But I think I would like it better, a little more drier. And that's just a personal preference style. This wine is great and is really well made, and I don't want to knock it by any chance, just my personal preference.
Yes.
All right. Well, Brittany, that's been a great episode about Germany.
Wonderful. I'm really glad that we did this.
And coming up next week, we have Greece.
Whoa. Yes.
So I'm excited for that.
Also fun. So we'll see you in Greece.
Yeah, we'll see you in Greece. Alrighty. Well, I've been looking forward to drinking some more wine with you.
And I with you, Sai.
Alrighty. Bye now.
Cheers.